Hi guys, so let's talk about the vertical line. It's the first question on the Kibbe body types test. If you are new and you're confused about what I'm talking about, I will leave a link down below to the Kibbe body types test on Aly Art's channel. So it's the first question on the test. It's basically how tall you look, and it's also the most confusing question in my opinion, because how do you really know how tall you look? So if you are really confused about your Kibbe type, or your coloring or anything like that, I do color analysis and body typing on my website, and you can order a style report, a personalized style report for yourself if you're interested, and I'll leave a link down below. And the question basically says, my vertical line is A, long, so people usually guess that I'm taller than I am. B, moderately long, people usually guess that I'm slightly taller than I am. Moderate, people guess my height correctly. Answer D is people usually guess that I'm shorter than I am. Or answer E is it's very obvious to everyone that I'm short. So, okay, how are you really supposed to know this? And I know that you will probably already know what I'm going to say about this, and I've talked a little bit about it. Aly Art has talked about it as well, but it's really all about the size of the head in comparison to the rest of your body. So here we have 5 celebrities now, and each one represents an answer, going from left to right, answers A through E. So we have on the left Nicole Richie. She is 5'0". Well, actually, before I tell you their heights, let's talk about how tall they look. So Nicole looks like she's 5'0". She looks tiny. She is tiny. That is Jessica there in the green dress, and I think she looks like she's about 5'3". Naomi Watts looks like she's about 5'5". Ashley Tisdale looks like she is about I don't know, what do you guys think? I think she looks like she's 5'7", and Megan Fox, I think she looks like she's about 5'9". So let me tell you their actual heights. Nicole is 5'0". Not sure if I said she was 5'1" earlier, but she is 5'0" on the far left. Jessica is 5'5". Naomi Watts is 5'5". Ashley is 5'3", and Megan Fox is 5'4". Now, isn't it surprising to you that Naomi Watts is the tallest person? Naomi Watts and Jessica in the green dress are the 2 tallest people on this in this image. So Megan Fox definitely looks like she's the tallest. Again, I would say she looks like she's 5'9" or 5'10", and she's actually 5'4". So it's really because of the size of her head. So now let's compare Jessica and Megan on the left and Nicole and Jada on the right. So on the right, Nicole is 5'0", and Jada is also 5'0". So on the right, those 2 ladies are the same height, and in my opinion, Jada definitely looks a lot taller than Nicole. I think Jada looks like she's about 5'4", 5'5", and Nicole looks like she's 5'0". So that's because Jada's head is smaller than Nicole's head in proportion to her body. I think Jada is dramatic classic, and Nicole is romantic on, I believe she's on Kibbe's list, but I'm not sure. I think she's romantic. Megan Fox now on the left compared to Jessica. They are both a similar height. Megan Fox is 5'4", and actually Jessica is 5'5", and you can see that Jessica looks like she's much shorter than Megan Fox, and again, it's because of the size of the head. So in my opinion, I think the less confusing and more useful way to look at this question, the vertical line question, is to forget about how tall you look, because how many of us really know how tall we look? And then when we ask people, they usually tell us based on standing next to us, so they already know how tall we actually are. So it's not really the most unbiased sort of perspective of how tall we look. So I would say forget about thinking of it this way, and it might be helpful to think of it, if you're still confused, about simply the size of your head. So I would rephrase the question entirely and say question number 1 is simply the size of my head is A, very small in proportion to the rest of my body and in proportion to my height. B is moderately small, so it's small in proportion to my height. C is moderate and even proportion to my height. D is pretty big in proportion to my height, and E is very big in proportion to my height. So if you guys are confused, try it out this way and let me know what you think. Does that clarify things? And I think it won't get messed up because I think anatomically it's going to become increasingly more difficult for your head to be large enough to make you look short if you are extremely tall. And likewise, if you're very, very short, it's going to be very difficult for your head to be small enough for it to make you look tall. So I hope that makes sense. So generally, taller people will have smaller heads in proportion to their height. But if you don't, then that will make you look either shorter or taller. But overall, this is about in proportion to your height. So if we take a look at Megan Fox and Gwendolyn Christie, Gwendolyn is 6'3", and I think she's a good example of someone who has a pretty large head in proportion, not in proportion to the height, but she has a pretty large head, so it makes her look like maybe she's 5'11", but still she looks very tall. And you can see that her head is just not large enough to make her look short. So she doesn't have to be concerned with this. If she answered the question, her head would still be answer A. It's pretty small in proportion to her height. So you can see here that her head, compared to all of these other people, is really large. Because she herself has pretty big bones, but at the same time, within her own proportions, her head is still small. So I hope that makes sense. So now if we compare her to Tilda Swinton, I think Tilda actually looks taller than Gwendolyn, but Gwendolyn is in real life she's taller, and it's because Tilda's head is smaller in proportion to her height than Gwendolyn. Both of these ladies, I would say, they have answer A, a small head, or answer A, a long vertical line. So you can see that they both look quite tall, and it's because of the size of their head. So now if you compare these three ladies here now, they all look pretty tall. Of course, Megan Fox looks a little bit shorter than the two ladies on the right, and then Tilda Swinton looks the tallest, but they all look quite tall. So I would say answer A for their vertical line, or answer A for their head, that they all have pretty small heads in proportion to their height. Now, if you take a look at Gwendolyn compared to Jada, I think Jada looks like she's 5'5", 5'4" maybe, and Gwendolyn looks like she's 5'10", 5'11". You can see what I mean, that Jada looks like she's taller than she is. She's only 5'5", and Gwendolyn looks like she's shorter than she is. She's 6'3". But you can still see that Jada's head, even though it's really quite small, because she's so short, you really can't get the head to be so small that she's going to look like she is Gwendolyn's height, and Gwendolyn's head is not going to be so large that she's going to look Jada's height. So embedded into that question, the size of the head in proportion to the rest of your height, is how tall you are. I hope that makes at least some sense. So don't worry, if you are extremely tall, this will still work for you. If you're extremely short, it'll still work for you. If you're extremely short, the most your head can really be, the smallest it can be, is probably to take you up to maybe some sort of answer C, like moderate, instead of a very large head or something like that. So if you compare Naomi Watts' soft classic and Jada Pinkett dramatic classic, you can see that they both look around the same height. And maybe Jada's head is like answer C tending toward B, and maybe Naomi's head is answer C tending toward D, but whatever, it doesn't matter. It looks like it's in an even proportion, and they look like they're about the same height when Jada is actually 5'0" and Naomi is 5'5". Now, if you compare Queen Latifah to Jada, I think Queen Latifah is soft classic, again, Jada is dramatic classic, and they both look like they might be around the same height. I thought maybe Queen Latifah was 5'5", but actually Queen Latifah is 5'10". I didn't know this. I was very surprised to find this. She looks a lot shorter than she is, but her head is still in even proportion to the rest of her body, so she She doesn't look necessarily dainty because of the size of her head. She doesn't look small, and she doesn't look large either. She looks right in the middle. So does Jada. So I would say that both of their answers are answer C. So their head is in even proportion to their body. And if we were to do it the other way, Queen Latifah would answer D. So she would say that people usually guess that I'm much shorter than I actually am. But I think that this question is more about how dainty you look, how small your body looks relative to the head. And I think this is a more accurate way to answer this question. So I don't think that Queen Latifah's head or Jada's head necessarily makes them look dainty or not dainty. They just look in even proportion. So both of them have answer C. If they were to do it the other way, answering, the vertical line question, Jada's answer would be answer A, that people guess she's much taller than she is because she's 5'0", and we guessed that she was 5'5", or at least I guessed that she was 5'5". And Queen Latifah would be answer D. She would say, oh, well, people guess that I'm shorter. I think they're both answer C. So here are Jada and Queen Latifah together, and you can see that Jada's head is actually much smaller than Queen Latifah's, but we're talking about the proportions within their own bodies. Remember, Jada is 5'0", Queen Latifah is 5'10", and so they're both classics because within their own bodies, they are very proportional. So that is what I believe the vertical line question is really asking, is your head in even proportion to your body? Is it a bit smaller or is it a bit larger? Finally, we have Lucy Liu on the right and Hayden Panettiere on the left. Hayden is 5'2", Lucy is 5'3", and Hayden is a soft gamine and Lucy is dramatic. And you can see that Lucy's head, in proportion to her height, these girls are about the same height, and Lucy's head looks like it's smaller in proportion to her body, and Hayden's head looks like it's larger in proportion to her body. So Hayden has a much more dainty look because of this, and Lucy looks a bit taller than she actually is. So that is it, you guys. That is what I think question number 1 could be or should be, and I think you are going to get more accurate results answering question number 1 this way, simply asking what the size of your head is in proportion to your height. And if you take a photo of yourself just at chest level and you take a look at the size of your head, then that is going to be a much more objective way to look at it. Also, I think this is kind of a more of a sensitive subject. Some people want to look taller, some people want to look shorter than they are. We all want to look a certain way and we all have our own biases, but if you simply ask, what's the size of my head in proportion to my height, that might take out some of that bias that you would have looking at yourself and might give you a more accurate result. So okay, that's it. Thank you for watching. Do you have any questions or comments? Do you think that this is useful? Was it useful to you at all? Let me know. And if you find other questions on the Kibbe test very confusing, please let me know, and maybe I'll make a video on that one of those questions as well. If you're still confused about your type, you can order a style report on Merriamstyle.com. I'll leave a link down below. So, okay, thanks for watching.